All right, everybody, how's it going? Hopefully, sorry, good day. Enjoying yourself. Look, new day, new stories to talk about. So I have a few here that I want to touch on. We'll be looking at finally a decision made in the John Morant case. Well, not case, but the John Morant situation in the NBA. Talk about that. Michael Jordan, some news with him surrounding the Charlotte Hornets. Then, of course, the main story on this episode, as you see from the thumbnail, all about USA, Mexico. Because USA had a great showing, and I was giving my thoughts on the game. Did a watch along last night if you missed it. Really good time. You can go back and watch it now, of course, but um, if you want to make sure you don't miss the next watch along or any of these episodes that I'm doing for you, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share it out. Notification bell is probably important as well because you'll get notified whenever I go live or drop an episode. So with that, let's go ahead, get into these stories, and let's do it. So first off, we're going to talk about John Morant. Now, if you didn't see it this morning, the NBA let us know that the suspension is going to be 25 games. Now, depending on where you stood on where the suspension would fall, 25 seems like a reasonable number to me. I have always been under the assumption that with the new stipulation of 65 games needed for postseason accolades, awards, whatever you want to call them, the suspension had to somehow tie in to that rule. I felt like that's a big way to send a message to not only John Morant, but any other player who, may think about doing something sketchy, putting it on social media, thinking that if they're not breaking any necessarily federal law or something like that, that they should be allowed to do whatever. What you have to realize is the NBA, it's a business. It has a certain standard it wants to live up to for investors, fans, whatever. If you have one of your star players out there, questionable behavior, we know how influential athletes are towards like the youth, then yeah, you have to step in and do something about this to make it seem like it's not okay. Because I believe the NBA's words were the suspensions like under the reckless behavior or something like that, which I completely understand. Probably even less of a shock. The Players Association come out and said they don't like it, they think it's excessive, whatever. I mean, that's the Players Association. They're technically, I guess, supposed to stick it for the players. I feel like this is just. I saw the suspension come down. They had the little default message to put out there. They hit send on that and move on. So 25 games. What does John Morant get to do in that time? Because it's at least 25. He has to meet certain conditions before he can come back. We don't know what those are, but you have to assume it's some type of, I don't know, rehab of sorts. So it gives him plenty of time to, I guess, work on his image, probably decide his inner circle, the influence is there. Maybe he needs to come up with a new hobby because clearly listening to, NBA YoungBoy or whatever, feeling the need to pull out a gun, whether it's toy, real, whatever. That's not the hobby for you, buddy. Try some new music out. I don't know, but yes. So it's at least 25 games. We'll see what Memphis does. If anything, they have a statement or something like that. I believe John Morant did talk. It's not really newsworthy because every player kind of says about the same stuff. They'll say like they want to do better. They're sorry. Which we've heard this before. So when it comes to John Morant, it's not going to mean anything until we see the actions from him. So during this time, we should not see any more, I guess, IG videos with him flashing anything that looks like a gun. That we could start there. Love to see him like out in the Memphis community, just doing stuff. Spend his time productively. Start with that. He'll take the time away to rebuild the trust between himself, the Memphis community, as well as the NBA community. So I hope this is the last time we get to talk about John Morant in this case, other than winning MVPs or leading the Grizzlies to a title. Hopefully it stays on the court with him from now on. Moving on. Michael Jordan, the GOAT, greatest of all time. Hasn't been the greatest owner ever. So why is he in the news? He sold his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets. So waiting on league approval and everything, but that's going to go through. Now, just wrap these numbers around your mind. He bought his majority stake, was it 13 years ago, for like $275 million. Nothing to sneeze at. He sold the majority stake today, $3 billion. Turning $275 million into $3 billion. I mean, come on. Michael Jordan just keep on winning. He's not going to be completely gone, of course, because he still will have a minority stake in the Hornets. So I'm sure he'll still be very visible at games. He'll be at practices every once in a while. We've seen video of him, shoot around and stuff like that with players. I'm sure he'll be very much involved. He just won't be the majority owner. Why is that important? Because he was the only black person with a majority stake ownership in the NBA. We know it's been a talking point for recent years. I would love to see more representation. But look, Jordan, I'm sure he had his reasons for doing it. It's a lot in terms of his exposure with the team and all that. So maybe he just wants to take a step back, diminish his role a little bit. But yeah. $275 million to $3 billion, great investment. I guess great timing on the sale. But yes, Michael Jordan is no longer the majority stakeholder, the Charlotte Hornets. But he will stick on, I guess, through the draft and everything. So, maybe he can go out with a bang at the draft. Switching gears to soccer. Gregg Berhalter was named, once again, the coach of the U.S. men's national team. Announcement came down like right before kickoff last night. I was actually on stream where somebody in the chat alerted me that Berhalter was hired. My initial thoughts, okay, I'm fine with that. I've heard some people say, well, if he was in the position before, had the little stuff with Reina, made him step away, only to bring him back, why'd they waste so much time? Maybe in all that time, there was a lot of, maybe meetings with Reina, he and some players to kind of mend things. Let's say the players are all fine with Berhalter coming back. They made the announcement. Then I'm good. Because I'd have to think if Berhalter's coming back to the situation, Reina's supposed to be a big part of this team moving forward. We know about Pulisic, we know about McKinney, Tyler Adams, who's hurt, but we're really able to get him back. Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson. It's a young core with this group. Berhalter signed through the World Cup cycle, so up to 2026. That lets me know that there's going to be some expectations for the U.S. in the next World Cup. Of course, home soil, there should be. I'm assuming that if the team doesn't meet those standards, we could be in the same situation shortly after the World Cup, looking for a new coach. If he exceeds the expectations, then look, we're going to look back at this and just say he's clearly the right man for the job. Because in the time period where he was away, there's a lot of talk about Jesse March, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry was a name I threw out there a few times. Thought was going to be like a high-profile hire. Not to say Berhalter isn't, because I thought before the dismissal, I like the direction the U.S. was going in, minus a couple of little minor hiccups there. So it's going to be interesting to see. The U.S. have the Gold Cup next week. Will Berhalter be, I guess, in the coach's box for all of that? When does he officially start? And during his first game back as coach, everybody's going to pay attention to that starting lineup to see, will Reyna be in it? You got Balogun, who's now within the framework of the U.S. Will he be starting, or will the team look a little bit more like the traditional group that he had before? So it's going to be interesting to see, but the U.S. has a really good young crop, and I hope we don't see any more issues between he and some of the players like we had with the Reyna situation during the World Cup last year. Now moving on to the field. The U.S. took on Mexico last night. Like I said, I did a watch-along. Great time. Want to thank everybody who tuned in for that. It was, like I said, not only a great stream because of the chat, but the action on the pitch was just marvelous. U.S. takes down their rivals 3-0. Pulisic, who you see right here behind Weston McKennie with the ripped shirt, scored 2 goals. We had Ricardo Pepes, another player that's been tied to the Berhalter drama, I would say. He scored a goal as a substitute late in the game. Even with all that, looking at it this morning, I feel like some of the action on the pitch is being overshadowed by the red cards that were given out, all Mexican influenced. Dest and who got the first red card? Oh, McKennie got a red card. Oh, he's right here. Dest and McKennie get red cards in retaliation. So now they will not be available for the final Sunday against Canada. But I think this U.S. team can adapt, so we can move on from that. The worst part of the game was the Mexican crowd. They're a crowd in terms of CONCACAF, even internationally, I could say. No, we'll just stick with CONCACAF. They're usually a really good crowd. They usually bring a lot of energy, passion, and all that. Last night, that spilled into embarrassment with the homophobic chant that just continued on and on. They had to stop the game at first so they could get on the PA, tell the fans to stop it. Basically continued from there. There was 12 minutes of extra time because of all the stuff with the red cards being dished out. A lot of dust pushing and shoving, fights and all that. So about 7 minutes into the 12 minutes of extra time, the ref just completely stopped the game because the fans just continued with the chant. So it was bad enough, the team on the field lost 3-0. Even though the Mexican squad's going through a bit of a transition like the U.S. did not too long ago. So it's going to be some growing pains with them. The point of it is they're doing it now so that when 2026 rolls around for the World Cup, Mexico's hoping to be in a much better situation. So based off of last night, it seems like I guess the fans aren't ready to embrace this youth movement, knowing it's not going to look like the great Mexican soccer that they have known, just not right now. So Mexican fans need to be patient with the team. I'm assuming the coach is going to be fired because they talked about it pregame like there was a lot of pressure on him to begin with. But we'll see how that goes for Mexico. For the U.S., I was definitely encouraged by what I saw. Balogun for his first appearance with the team, I thought he was fine. I think he'll only just get better as he plays more with these guys. And Pulisic was magnificent. As we talked about in the chat on the watch along, McKennie, I loved seeing this McKennie, minus the red card, of course. But it reminded me of the McKennie that made him such a staple for the U.S. squad. He brings the passion, the leadership, and all that to this team. And we saw that last night. Because once again, like the chat, they were talking about McKennie might have lost something being at Leeds and getting relegated. Well, we didn't get that last night. So a lot of enthusiasm for the U.S. I cannot wait to see them Sunday night against Canada, which I will be doing another watch along for. So if you need something to do, make sure you join the stream. Have some fun with me. We'll watch the game, talk about it, have a good time. So yeah, that's all I got for you. Those are the top stories of the day. So yeah, I guess that's it. So with all these stories I talked about, let me know what you think down in the comments section. Whether you like the suspension for John Morant, you like the rehiring of Gregg Berhalter to lead the U.S. team into the 2026 World Cup. Also, your thoughts on the game last night. If you caught it, let me know what you thought about the action on the pitch. If not, I guess if you didn't watch it, what is it about soccer that isn't intriguing to you? I guess. But yeah, let me know down there. We'll have some fun interacting in the comment section. But I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless. Be safe. And I'll see you in the next episode. All right? I'm out. I'll see you later.